Yep.
At the beginning of our student teaching experience, we both were, in general, more stressed out teachers. We honestly didn't know what to expect of the whole teaching experience. We didn't know each other that well, and we were feeling a little uneasy with each other at the beginning.
Also at the beginning, our classroom management, to be honest, was pretty poor. We had a situation where some of us felt like the bad cop and some of us felt like the good cop. So that ended up kind of dividing us in a way in regards to how the students responded to us, and that just kind of threw off all of the classroom management. The call and responses were not effective, and our transitions were pretty much a mess. So that was something that we really needed to work on. And basically, I would just say that cohesively, we weren't working together the way that we could have been. So that was definitely room for improvement.
And in general, we typically were feeling a little stressed out, or we were kind of scatterbrained.
And basically,
basically
exhausted.
Yeah.
So we definitely knew we had a lot of room to improve, and so we kind of pinpointed those areas. That I struggled with was that I did not have meaningful feedback for my students. I would plan my lesson, and for somehow, the time would just not be right. I'd be scattered all over the place. The activities would not be timed, and I didn't really have a wrap-up. And if I did have a wrap-up, it was like, hey, guys, what did we learn? Which was not very meaningful. So something that I talked about with my mentor teacher was to improve my feedback and really make it meaningful and pertain to the lesson that I had at hand. So a way that I did this was better timing my activities, for one. So I utilized my iPhone and I timed out the activities and the centers so that I would have a visual alarm and a mental alarm on telling me when I needed to stop things and when we needed to move forward. And then for my feedback, I planned my wrap-ups beforehand, but I also let some of those wrap-ups become inquiry-based. So if some of the students were struggling with a certain concept or a certain problem on a worksheet that we had during our main activity, I used that as, what I did for driving my wrap-up at the end. And a main thing for me was also trying to keep these shorter, not into another mini lesson, but to a 5 to 7 minute wrap-up. So one thing you guys definitely know about me is that I tend to be a pretty type A person. Where this is helpful sometimes in the teaching profession, it's not always that great because it tends to make myself really stressed out and others around me pretty uptight as well. So this is something that going into this semester I really wanted to work on. So that caused me needing to do just less analyzing about certain situations, especially in the lesson planning. So a cool thing about our team is that we wrote lesson plans for different subjects, and we alternated when people wrote those. So I wasn't always writing the lesson plans that I was teaching. This was an extremely difficult task for me at first because it was just one of those situations where I had a little bit of the control taken away from me and I was teaching somebody else's material. But I found that it was actually really helpful and it allowed me to look at things in a different perspective. And so all in all, I feel like that really helped me with the lesson planning. Also, just in general, when you tend to be type A, sometimes you look at things very cynically, and that can get you kind of uptight, and I wasn't, as positive around the kids, and people even joked that I was the strict one, or we used to joke that I was called the bad cop. But I noticed that over time, Audrey's positive outlook on life really allowed me to become a little bit more laid back and realize that I was supported and that, things were going to get done and me worrying wasn't going to do anything about it. So I would definitely say that over the course of these last few weeks, one thing I've definitely improved on is letting go of some of the control and learning to let others share and take the load as well. percentages, which you were already given, and then he counted the little spaces. And so at the very end, you had 100 spaces that were full, but you had parts of the hole filled, right? So what's another way you could have done this? McKenna, what's another way we could have done this?
I just, so I went in the middle of the circle at the very top and I put a line down and then I count out 24 little lines.
So you counted as well?
We counted the lines, not the spaces.
Okay. There's another way. How can I look at this and use what I know about what a hole is and then fractions to kind of guesstimate what my amounts are going to be? Joey?
Estimate.
How did you estimate? Give me an example for, how did you do the less than 2, kids who played less than 2 hours of sports?
I knew that 1/4 of the circle would be like 25, so I just counted one line shorter than that.
Right, so so if I had 4 quarters equals 100, one of those is 25%. And so a little bit less than that would probably be about 24%. And then so on and so forth.
So my classroom management in the beginning started off a little rough. It was hard to keep everybody on the same page, and we just got a little bit rowdy. We have a very talkative class, so we had to manage our call and response system. And we did this by creating transitions between different subjects. So we would go from one subject to another very cohesively, and we kept all the students on the same page, got them to line up quietly. There was a lot of progress there. One more thing that I worked on from the beginning with the help of my student teaching partner is organization. So at the beginning, I was a little bit scatterbrained, you could say, and things were lost or misplaced. And I worked on the organization part of it, keeping 20 students under control, which was a difficult time for me. One more thing that I would say that had been a really big struggle for me in the beginning would be time management. There was constant times where we were reprimanded for running overtime or not having a long enough time. So we basically had to look at the clock 24/7 and completely rocked it by the end of our student teaching experience.
5 hours later. Okay, I like it. That's a good one. So I thought of some words on my own that were like next, or first I did this, then I did this. So then is your transition word. When you guys go to do your writing at your desks, I'm going to pass out this worksheet that gives examples of transition words I want you to include in your own essays. So first off, I'm going to read you a paragraph. This one is a paragraph that the sentences, you're going to think about how they flow together or if the ideas seem connected, and does one idea build on another. So listen carefully and tell me at the end if you think one idea built on another. While some students would like to choose their own clothes, there are many reasons why students in public schools should wear a school uniform. Uniforms save time in the morning, and choosing an outfit can take time, but putting on a uniform is easy and fast. Uniforms are also less expensive than regular clothing. An outfit for a student can cost more than $60, and shoes or accessories can add cost. The uniforms sold at area stores cost $30 or less. Uniforms reduce the competition and dress among students. Some students might not be able to afford popular clothes, and wearing uniforms would save these students from being embarrassed. It is clear that students enrolled in public school should be required to wear a school uniform. How do you think that flowed together? You think thumbs up if you think it flowed good, thumbs down if you think it flowed bad, thumbs sideways if you don't know. Okay, now I'm going to read one more paragraph. Tell me if you think this is better, the same, or worse. So it's going to be not the same paragraph, but the same ideas, okay? So, starts off the same. While some students would like to choose their own clothes, there were many reasons why students in public school should wear a school uniform. First, uniforms save time in the morning. Choosing an outfit can take time, but putting on a uniform is easy and fast. In addition, uniforms are also less expensive than regular clothing.
uniforms would reduce the competition in dress among students. Lastly, some students might not be able to afford popular clothes, and wearing uniforms would save these students from being embarrassed. Given all of these facts, it is clear that students Now, after 7 weeks of student teaching together, we went from being stressed out to being supportive teachers of one another. Throughout our experience, we've learned that our strengths and our weaknesses work together to support each other rather than deter each other. They definitely worked in favor.
Also, we noticed that we started to get really a lot better with our classroom management. It's no longer good cop, bad cop. It's more of like a joint force that works cohesively together. So we find that we are becoming more even in the assertiveness that we do. We've tried some different, more exciting and engaging call and responses, which have really worked out well with our class. And our transitions are quieter, which, makes us feel better when we're taking them from special to special. And you'll notice that we even had a visual evidence of our improvement from student work when I was no longer called the strict teacher, but we had an illustrated poem of the both of us that was shown in one of their poetry books. So that was really, really cool to see.
And throughout our experience, we either sank or swam together. So in one case, we lost our grading chart, and instead of blaming each other and pointing fingers, we worked together to look for it high and low, and when we couldn't find it, we decided to make a digital chart that couldn't be lost or stolen. It could be edited, and it can be accessible at any given time.
Yeah, so that was just really a case in point where we really saw our teamwork in great effect, because we noticed that we weren't pointing fingers on, who lost it, but it was rather, we realized, well, crap, we lost it, and we need to figure out how do we achieve success from this situation as a team. And so that was really cool and kind of a groundbreaking moment for us.
So just overall, we're feeling now way more supportive of each other, and Lindsay helps me to become more organized as much as she possibly can.
And we kind of just feel like at the beginning of the day, because we're feeling supported from one another with, playing on each other's strengths and weaknesses, we're able to feel fueled up at the beginning of the day and ready to be, our best and to do our best. So something actually that's funny that we have started to say to one another is, like after one of us, does a good job on a lesson, they'll say, hey, you rocked it. But then together we'll say, we rocked it, and we'll do a little high five. So I hope you guys enjoyed our video, and we're excited to share the progress with you.